You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host. And today's episode will be brought to you after this question from our characters.
I'm picturing this scene being back somewhere on Keen Bale, possibly somewhere in the 6 months between seasons 1 and 2, and the Doc will ask Kay on one nice occasion, Kay, where do you think of as home?
We're at the moment fixing the fire opal, and Kay's in the cockpit with Dr. Smex as he's doing some tune-ups and shouting back towards Tychus when a light goes on or some smoke comes out of the panel or something like that. And he says, well, Doc, I had a home. I'm from the core worlds. I won't say which one. It's not important. I'm not going back, though. That's where I was born, and that's where my family is. And that's where they all consider home. But I joined the Empire as soon as I had the ability to join. I worked for, how long was it? 6 years? Flew through flight training, combat missions. We moved around. I lived on a Star Destroyer for a good 4 years. We were never anywhere in particular. I'm used to my home being mobile. And the console sparks and the smoke starts billowing out. Home isn't always perfect, he says, getting one of the, like a space kind of fire extinguisher and start spraying. But I think I found my home. Could you press that button over there? It is not perfect, but I have a good family. And it's currently on fire.
Welcome to Shadows of the Jedi. I will be your games master, person who runs the game. My name is Ed Fortune, and I cannot run a tabletop role-playing game without friends, and I'm very lucky to have some amazing friends who have been playing this game with me for a number of years, and I'm going to get them to introduce themselves. Introduce yourselves. Let's start with Adam.
Hello, my name is Adam and I'm playing Tychus Barr, a Basilisk Guardian Armourer. My emotional strength is my bravery and my emotional weakness is my recklessness.
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm playing Dr. Smex Karam Danalawa, a Syrian consular healer whose emotional strength is his compassion and whose weakness is his obstinacy.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I'm playing a person who was at one time Lieutenant Dalen Kyrain. He is now called Kay, and he is a starfighter race, a Taro striker. His emotional strength is his compassion, but his emotional weakness is his hatred.
You thinking you can just get by dropping that real life, ooh, look at my backstory name drop, buddy?
Well, we mentioned the fact I was in the Empire just now, and I thought I should probably tell you what rank I was.
Ooh. Hi, I'm Mim. I play Roy. He is a modified B1 battle droid with a specialization as bodyguard and heavy, a career as a hired gun, and an obligation to the Barr family.
And as we begin, the party have found themselves on the world of Syria at the home of Dr. Schmax, and I feel now is an appropriate point to have the weighty hand of destiny, as things may very well change depending on the decisions that they make. I feel a family gathering is a good place to steer the course of, well, Force and Destiny. It's the claim's in the name, after all. So can everyone roll the appropriate Force dice, please, and we'll create a Destiny pool.
I get 1 dark side point.
I put 1 dark side point into the pool.
I got 2 light side points.
I'm considering this not a good sign for this family meeting that, considering it's my family, it's 1 dark side point.
And I contribute 1 light side point to the pool. So what does that put us at?
3 light, 3 dark.
So just to describe the scene again, you are in the palatial home of Dr. Smex. This is a kind of an Art Deco, kind of Greco-modern, space modern, shall we say, home, but it has more of the hint of Pride and Prejudice. There's a feel of a stately and palatial place. But, obviously the location crew have done really well to mix that kind of modern and that kind of stately look to it. And you've been brought into a room that is wall-to-ceiling books. There is plenty of kind of heavy, overstuffed sofas. This is a sort of place where adults drink a brandy. as you come in, an overly elaborate music playing device plays a swing, a kind of tune, and you are surrounded by the wives of the good doctor. Because being a Syrian, he has more than one wife. And just to describe these formidable women, we have Katie, who is visibly the oldest, visibly the tallest, and is extremely sharply tailored. And is sitting down, and as she stands up and makes themselves a drink. There is a much shorter, much kind of energetic, someone who I would describe as mostly arms, if you see what I mean, in the way that they kind of move energetically. And they are the smallest. They are also dressed in casual workshop clothes, the sort of thing that actually Tychus would be quite familiar with, this kind of working clothes. And they seem to be visibly animated. They're called City. And Tima, who you've already met, who is very physically like the Doc, in the fact that the Doc is kind of quite stocky in their build, and Tima is also similarly, you feel like they're quite well matched in if you were looking at a family, you'd be like, they seem to be, they seem to aesthetically match each other much more, which counters to the hologram that you can see, which is of Padwa, who is got an extremely athletic build, extremely striking physical features, and is also the only hologram in the room, and looks like kind of like the most different looking of all of these people. And this very kind of like, you all feel a little bit slightly intimidated by the fact that you've just been drawn in. And the tall lady looks the Doc right in the face and says, "Husband, before we begin, are we free to talk in front of your friends?"
Yes. Anything you need to say, you can talk in front of them. They're all on board.
Good. So we don't need to talk in innuendo?
No, this open channel. There's no secret codes here.
Well, on that, Tychus, you will notice immediately, City goes over to the energetic-looking lady, goes over to a console, and that familiar kind of buzz in your teeth that you are familiar through childhood. Your parents used a communication shroud all the time, to the point that it took you years to realize it was unusual that someone would want to block any possible communications. But yeah, no, they've just put a shroud up.
Before you go into more in depth in the scene, I should just explain that Kay is standing quite obviously at ease. He's gone into, I am in a governor's palace or something like that. I am in front of people who are very important. I am a military man. I am standing, not at attention because they're not there, but he's standing at military ease.
Are you attempting to hide who you are? Would you like to make a skullduggery roll, or can we just go past that without dice?
No,
Great.
No. What I'm doing is I'm giving you it's quite obvious that he is a man of the military because of it. And he's not doing it consciously. It's just, this is the sort of place where he's out of his depth, and this is what he would do.
Also, Kay is familiar enough, I think basically the entire party is familiar enough to realise that some sort of communications cloak has gone on. Kay, you have lived in this world. The tall lady gives off, and the way that Tima gives off gang boss vibes, the tall lady gives off officer vibes.
Yeah, she at present, even though he didn't realise it, is my commanding officer. And that's why I'm standing there, definitely waiting to be told what to do.
I would like to make introductions before anybody, because I think that's appropriate at this point, because I need to introduce these, because they haven't met, three of these people before, and, the three people in there haven't met three people like here. So I make the quick introductions. This is Katie. Katie is a senatorial attaché. This is Sadie. She is from the Spaceborne Paralytic Infections Research Division. This is Padwa. She is a dancer. She tours, at the minute, touring the Outer Rim, I believe. And this is Tima, who you've met, who is the head of householding.
Hello. Nice to meet you all.
This is Tychus Barr, who is a merchant and weaponsmith from the Keener Vale. This is Roy, who is
my brother.
Yep, and how would you say? This is a well-regarded guardian of children, with a colourful history on that subject, I'm sure, but nevertheless, but very protective. Very protective.
Murderbot / babysitter.
Thank you, Kay.
It's a Perfect combination. And Tychus kind of play punches Roy in the arm.
Clang.
Roy slaps you on the back.
And this is Kay, the pilot of the fire opal.
At which point, Sadie hugs the Doc. And Doc, you know exactly what's coming. You get a massive, massive hug. And you also get a pinch in the top right of your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
She digs essentially like a needle-like device into the top of your shoulder, takes a blood sample, and like stops, like gives you a hug, and there's a you all hear just like, tss, and she's like, "Thank you, husband," and then comes back and then like plugs that into a machine and immediately starts looking at the thing, going,
Have we just entered the thing? Dude.
Roy just leans forward and says,
It's okay. I made sure Tychus had his shots when he was younger. He's not contagious anymore.
They blush and then they go, "Oh, I'm sorry. Every time I make sure that he's okay for everything. Also, my research is in. You have been busy. Research is in the things that one catches whilst one is out in space, and there are some interesting things that one catches while one is out in space. Oh, you have it."
I know. We saw a space whale that had things living in it. It's amazing.
An entire organism in space that you could occupy and be. That explains these numbers.
Yeah.
It's probably not the only thing that explains these numbers, and we will have a more private chat about that afterwards.
I'm really sorry, but like when he was on Keenabale with us, you know, a man gets lonely and not everyone's the cleanest. We do our best, but rubbing alcohol can only do so much. And Tychus gives the Doc a massive wink and then a big old grin. And then kind of turns to Roy, he's like, "Heh."
I don't get it.
If any of you would like to contribute a sample to the research, obviously I will need your consent. I would love to take a sample so I can investigate further. There is a pause. Looks at Roy and goes, and also that includes if you want to include toxin filter samples, I would love to take a toxin filter sample.
Nah, you're all right, thanks.
I don't like leaving a trail.
I just don't like needles.
That's fair.
I don't mind.
Okay, well, later then, if you are okay with that, Roy, we will empty out your filter and just make sure that, with your consent, and if there's someone you'd prefer to do that for you, then that's fine. And then we'll make sure that there's nothing nasty that's got into your system. Droids are an excellent control for this sort of thing. You can learn so much about an environment with just talking to droids.
I just love the fact that for the record, when they're going through the filter, they're probably going to find bits of Fruge bars, some Legomorph, a bit of a rubber duck, you know, that kind of stuff. It's going to be great.
We may ask all the droids in due course to whether they wish to contribute. TBC and is in the room as well.
Oh, yes. If TBC wants to, then we'll seek consent and then make that happen. Right. And then there's like the rest of the kind of the room is like waiting for Sadie to kind of stop for like kind of hyper focusing. And they're like, oh, and they just have a moment of going, oh no, I'm very sorry. There's more serious things that we need to discuss. And then Padua, who's the hologram, goes, husband, welcome home. I'm very sorry I could not be with you. I have already shared some of the intelligence that I have learnt, and I'm still learning. This channel is mostly secure. I have already transmitted some data. A lot of what we know is going on is through this. And then Katie, who is the tall lady, pulls. There is essentially another, because it's Star Wars, we get a green hologram display. Goes, as we know, when we sent you to Keenabale, we had our suspicions as to some of the presences there. How much has my husband informed you as to what's going on?
Not.
He might have dropped in a little bit recently that he was maybe a kind of super spy, but, you know, that's all.
He's mostly kept this side of his life somewhat close to his chest.
Did you know he glows?
Aye, he does. He glows.
Again, we're going to have a longer conversation about that in a little while time. But at the moment, I think, in terms of like an effort to, I don't need to be coy. In terms of an effort to stop the Empire, they're on board. In terms of a series of occult artifacts in temples around the galaxy, they've been there with me every step of the way.
Your wives weren't there every step of the
Yes,
week.
that's not what we're talking about.
No, I'm telling my wives that you've been with me every step of the way.
You are the they.
Oh, sorry. Carry on. Just with the question of how much the husband has told us, and then I wasn't sure, if, sorry. Carry on.
Yes, no, I would remember if I was on Keener Bell. I'm never going, ever. And no offense to anyone who lives there and loves that place, but no. So, what we discovered before the doctor left, she looks, goes, stops, and how do we put this? Before Smex left our world and sought permission, we knew that the Empire had interest in Syria for a number of different reasons. We have abundant resources, and they have an issue with the fact that we are not quite ideal Imperial citizens. They don't like our way of life. They don't like the way that we are structured. They want our resources. There is plenty that is still in the ground on this world that is precious and valuable, and it is staying in the ground. The Empire, after a number of years of seeking mining rights and control rights of various lands, changed tactics and became very silent, and now wish to investigate thermal lakes underneath the world, promising powerful geothermal tools and energies, which again we do not trust, and there is a level of political will. What we know, however, is that the people making this request, the faction making this request of the Imperial citizenry, is not the Imperial Senate, is not the Imperial Navy, is not the Imperial Administration, it's not even the ISB. It is some weird faction called the Inquisitorial Office.
Do I have any idea what that is?
You have heard hints, you have heard hints of the exotic Jedi hunters, they are arguably also known as the Imperial Cult, and they are the Emperor's hangers-on. The Emperor is known to have beliefs and understand the mysteries of the universe that no one else understands. This is kind of known in the ISB that, he has a cadre of elite, rumored to be force-sensitive forces. These are the artifact hunters, essentially. His secret police of the secret police. The ISB fear this lair.
Right. So Kay nods and goes, yeah, the Emperor's archaeological cultists. I've heard of them, but only from rumour.
They are weird.
Aren't we all?
And they are interested in our world. And to protect our world, we have found ourselves in a situation where we have allied with friends who are also against the Empire and wish to thwart the Empire's esoteric and also blatant interests across the galaxy. Agents that were on this world were transferred to Keenabel.
Oh, like General Kenobi, who attacked us at the temple as we were leaving away.
Yeah, like him. Weird-looking fella with the laser sword.
He was a blue chap.
Yeah.
With the laser sword, he cut the other blue chap in half.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, it's been a busy couple of days. I've not had a chance to regale my wife with a tale of our most recent incident in the temple.
Yeah, I think possibly he might have been an Inquisitori.
Padwa, the hologram, goes, Wait. General Kenobi, the storied general.
Yes.
Blue?
Yeah.
He's human.
Must be a different General Kenobi, then.
Oh, very cold.
Is it a popular name? No, it was either Pantoran or something like that.
He's not a Pantoran. Maybe it's a different General Kenobi. There is a General Kenobi who is officially dead and then keeps not being dead and then is officially dead again.
That might be why he's blue.
For tax purposes. Maybe he was wearing a mask.
No, he wasn't. No, he definitely wasn't wearing a mask. But no, it might be a different General Kenobi.
How did you identify? What did you use to identify? What do you know about General Kenobi?
Roy just knew who he was. How did you recognize General Kenobi, Roy?
Well, I just kind of got a feeling. As soon as I saw that laser sword, I was like, oh no, Kenobi, and it was really scary. Like some kind of vestigial memory of 100,000 million versions of me going, oh, poodoo, as soon as we saw it. But I don't know, maybe I was getting someone else's version of it, and maybe it was something a little corrupted, I don't know. it's kind of not my memory so much as a cultural memory.
I understand. It's difficult to have other... It's tricky when there's more than one voice in your head, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We went through. There was what would you call it, a gate in the temple that we recently experienced?
I like the term nexus.
Okay, there was a nexus in the temple as we were escaping from it, and it gave me a number of visions of, I'll say, different ways my life could have gone.
We went through the nexus of potentiality. Oh yes, that's what it's called now.
Sadie pops up and goes, were you conscious when this happened, or did you vividly hallucinate? Hyperactivity of spaceborne parasites causes megalomania and hallucinations.
We're very conscious. Roy came with us as well, which is why Roy's a little bit... in the way that we connected to other potential selves, Roy connected to other potential selves, and obviously Roy is wireless, so it was confusing for Roy. You were very brave.
If it helps, I have a full time period on record in my systems for what occurred, and although I do not have the full data transcripts of every droid memory that I experienced, because it is impossible for me to be able to assimilate that amount of data into my processors, key aspects from it that can be easily integrated into my own memory, because there are already memory pathways with gaps that are similar enough, have remained.
With your permission, we would love to examine some of that data, says Katie, if it is available.
Oh, I'm completely available.
Padua also pops up and goes, I'll add that to a sighting. So there's been a sighting of the very, very dead general on Kinabal. Okay, that won't upset anyone at all. It'll be fine.
Oh, that's good.
Well, he was working with the Empire, so presumably they already know about it.
That makes... Okay, there's this look of... Because, as I say, she's got very striking features, and like their entire forehead, of which there is a lot of, just does this furrow. If you say, I mean, this is like a look of visible confusion.
Is it like when Kermit frowns and like the entire front half of his face just kind of folds into his lower mouth?
Like imagine the entire top half of...
Just a landslide of frowns down her giant mountainous forehead.
But and because they have such sharp features as well, you're like, oh, that's okay. So well, that works. Okay, so
He was leading the forces that were attacking Bracca's forces and trying to seize this temple that we're at as well. We just hightailed it out of there. It seemed prudent.
Yeah.
So there's some sort of powerful device in the temple at Kinabal.
Well, not anymore. We blew it up. And he looks very pleased with himself as he says that.
That's almost certainly for the best.
Oh, aye, that's why we did it.
We have heard that they've been working with criminal elements extensively, and there's been an increase of smuggling on our world. Mostly it's small things, but we have noticed electronic components, we have noticed probably excavation equipment.
Well, they're probably after the temple that's on Syria, then.
Yes. And this is where it gets interesting, because we have an opportunity.
All right.
The fathers cannot deny the local planetary government has some level of give and take. I am a senatorial attaché. I work on a galactic level. On the planetary level, after a certain point when the Empire asks repeatedly for a thing, at some point we will have to say yes. So, we have given permission for a small geological survey to investigate the area that we think is probably this temple of yours in 8 standard weeks' time. It cannot be sooner than that due to geothermal vents. Anyone trying to get in there before that time will die.
Is that, like, actually the case, or is that just what you've told them to buy us time to go in there and blow it up?
They all look at Sadie. Sadie goes, well, it's more like 7 weeks because of cooling. But we've said 8. They know we're lying because they've got the same sort of technology that we have. They can just look at the planet and look at how hot it is. Geothermal energy should not be exploited on this world because it will cause global cooling. And if it causes global cooling, the crops will fail. And if the crops fail, we all stop because we do not do exports. We don't export our resources. We don't import our resources. partially that's because of the nature of our ecosystem. But as
All right, we need a focus. We don't need to know about your ecosystem. We need to know about the temple.
so we think that there is an accessible point. We have 8 weeks to prepare, and they pull out a clock, like a Nixie valve clock, and they set the clock. You need to be at these coordinates at when this hits 0. Click. And there is like a physical clock that she hands, literally the ticking clock, to the dock. And the kind of visible you have that long.
Okay, I have a few questions, if that's all right. So you sent Dr. Smeks to Kina Bell specifically to look into this temple?
No, Tima pipes up and goes, no, we sent our husband for multiple reasons. One, we wanted to know what was going on in the outer fringes. We were doing a favour for other friends of ours who are interested in making sure that the Empire does not overreach its power. We wanted someone in the heart of the edge. Basically, Kinabel's still the edge of wild space. If something weird was going on there, then we needed eyes. We're in the process of sending someone else to that world to keep an eye on that world, because history tells us anything that happens in Kinabel happens to the rest of the galaxy. It's a reflection of the state of the... It is literally just a indicator. If something weird's happening there, then it's probably happening elsewhere.
Crikey, the whole galaxy's doomed. What a depressing thought.
So it turns up so many times in history. It just you've got to keep an eye on what's going on in the fringe worlds and the outer places and the strange places.
It's not exactly fringe at the moment. The Empire has surrounded it with ships.
Exactly. And in all fairness, husband, we've sent someone far more better equipped to deal with the violence and the potential danger. But we on a hunch, and also because Smeks wanted to go.
All right. No, that's fine. Okay, so you want us to be at that temple at this time, and this clock here is 8 of your standard weeks. Sorry.
Yes, 8 galactic standard weeks.
So they're going to be there at the same time? Are they going to be there early?
The city pipes up and goes, literally, you cannot be there earlier, otherwise it will be too warm. And they are officially there to examine the thermal vents, not the temple.
All right.
Could we not get some protective equipment and go earlier? I mean, this place is lovely and all, but we're on a ticking clock. Not just the literal ticking clock you've just handed us, but there are 3 other temples that we need to go and banjax as soon as possible.
We have resources. Our city has been outfitting a workshop. There is a moment, Ross.
Yep.
When she says workshop, that's workshop in capital letters. Because there's certain technologies and certain technological levels are it's all kind of restricted on Syria, if you see what I mean. It's not normal.
Okay.
It's not normal to have a workshop on your palatial estate. Though lots of people have one, it's there's a thing. There's also a legal concern, as the dock does need to stay on this world for at least 3 weeks.
All right.
Okay, so that gives us 3 weeks for me to build some form of environmental protection and maybe a micropod to fly us in there. Get in there in 4 weeks' time, blow it up, off-world nice and quick. The Imperials won't know anything about it. They'll still be having to wait a month. That sounds doable. Might need some
I think the problem
materials.
with
I'm gonna need some...
Titus is,
Sorry?
whilst you are an excellent engineer, if you're thinking this now, they're thinking it as well.
Oh, absolutely. Which means that it's even more imperative that we get cracking. I'm going to need temperature readings, life support, parameters. What else are we going to need? What have you got for me? And as he's talking, he's pulled out, his 2 lower hands have pulled out data slates. His upper arms are starting to write notations, 2 different sets of notations on each one. His left-hand side is effectively sketching out plans for a small 4-person mini shuttle in outlining, it's very circular. It's like the mining drones from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Those little micro boring pods, that sort of thing. And he's just immediately started off on this tangent of starting to sketch out
Sadie, you and Tychus might get along. I think, you should possibly discuss ideas, let him know what kind of workshop we're dealing with here, let him know it's definitely more than, a craft desk, a hobby of any kind. It's going to have the kind of gear he might be interested in.
Well, we've reconfigured the distillery for now. It should be plenty of space. Let me. Are we done here? She looks at the rest of the wives and says, we have
I mean, we're definitely not done, but if the two of you want to get started on something, I don't think it's going to hurt us. But does anybody else have anything?
I'm just curious if there's anything else we could be doing.
We can provide resources for you to equip yourselves. There's limited access. I can ask various people within my friends and people that we know to do some research. If you tell us what you need to know, anything that you need to pick up and research, retool, re-equip. Obviously, and I can't state this enough, though you are guests of this estate, at some point you will be reported missing. So we have deniability, and the doctor will of course be seeing to his husbandly duties during that time and should not be interrupted under any circumstances, which is the official cover.
It puts you off your strokes.
There's an earthy laugh. There's an extremely earthy laugh, and you get a look surprisingly from Tima in a kind of, and then a wink in a kind of.
All right.
Well, this all seems like there's a lot of stuff that needs doing. I'll need to restock on juice boxes for one. But I was thinking it might be nice, since everybody's gonna be busy, and since the doc doesn't get to spend much time with you lovely ladies, maybe I could entertain the kids for a while, and you guys could actually do whatever it is that you guys do, You could have some personal time, maybe have a date night. I mean, believe me, occasionally Bar's parents would really be like, just take him out for an evening, and as long as he doesn't die in his back, I'll be fine. So, how would you like that? You could have a date night, or planning a heist night together.
So Padma, who's still a hologram, goes, Tima, we have talked about this. And Tima sets her shoulders and goes, yes, the children should spend more time amongst those from outside this world, especially droids.
Roy is a nanny droid. He brought me up, right?
That's absolutely perfect.
I mean, the doc is definitely exchanging glances with each of his wives along the impression of, I approve, but it's also on your own head, be it. So I mean, look at Tychus. Clearly he's worked out so far. So, on that sort of note, he's going to mention to KD, Tychus, do you want us to do anything to try and see whether your parents got out? Do you want us to access what records we can see whether your parents got off Kina Bale okay, or anything like that?
They'll have gone to ground. Like, my folks know how to run and hide from aggressive, larger powers hunting for them. And to be completely honest, with the utmost respect to you and yours over here, it wasn't the separatists that were hunting my parents, There's still that. Probably best not to have core world interest. They'll get in touch with me. My folks are survivors. They'll be fine.
I mean, we know how to make subtle inquiries as well, but I take your point. We can trust they'll be okay on their own.
Padua again, because obviously they're on the Zoom call, does the kind of, husband, if your friend is happy to leave it at that, I am happy to not have to contact our friends amongst the still separatists.
I'm trusting on Tychus on this, so let's let them be.
Still separatists?
There are people who are still separatists.
It's a big galaxy.
Aye, but that was a long time ago.
It was.
It's a big galaxy. And as we quite well know, things that happened a long time ago are still very current.
Aye, that's true. But no, my folks will be fine. They'll get in touch when it's safe for them to do so. Same with Carween, but he's a gilded bounty hunter. He'll be off getting work somewhere else. He doesn't come to the core worlds very much. He's a bit rough and ready for high society, is my boy. So,
Kay, is there anything you'd like to be doing?
I mean, we need to go to a pub, by the way. You'll have pubs here, right?
Yes, there are plenty of drinking houses.
I don't really want to drink.
That's fine. I'll drink for you, because you can remain temperate and strong. It'll be a good test of your resolve and willpower.
That sounds fair. No, there's nothing. I'll fly us there once we're ready.
Oh yeah, because you won't be drinking. Unexpected upside.
No,
Not designated driver or pilot.
not because I'll fly us to the thermal vents in the temple once we're
Oh right.
not to the pub.
Oh, I just assumed that you would be doing.
I mean, I will.
Like,
I will, but that's not what I was talking about. I don't have anything specifically I need to do.
when I build a survival pod shuttle thing, I'm sure we can build one. I'm sure I can refit one. Maybe on those taxis. Anyway, I'll need you to help me calibrate the flight controls on that anyway. So
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, the Fire Opal's literally done 2 space flights in its entire life so far. So
Yeah, we're not using the fire up.
But also, I don't really want to take the Fire Opal through thermal vents. She's a wee bit noticeable and will knacker your plausible deniability. Whereas if we retrofit some existing nondescript planetary shuttle with reinforced ablative frames...
We're not melting our baby, is what he's saying.
Yeah, we're not melting our baby.
I just meant general maintenance, given it's been through exactly 2 space flights, and you might want to
Who's he?
make.
Was he to do with Kenobi?
Sorry.
General maintenance?
Oh, okay. I need you to start drinking again.
The episode.
I'm not keeping up. I'm sorry.
I just meant, does the Fire Opal need any post-flight maintenance?
There was a bit of enemy fire on the way off Keena Bale. Nothing that a bit of spit and polish, some space gaffer, and a bit of spot welding won't fix. But she'll need a little bit of time.
Atima pipes up and goes, if the ship is the personal conveyance of a patriarch, we can get a grant to seek repairs within the spaceport.
No, that's very nice. If that grant can be used to buy the parts, that's fine. But no one but me is working on the Opal.
That's entirely possible. Will you have time?
Probably. I don't sleep very much.
And as the conversation then collapses into pleasantries, unless anyone has any objections, and what I'm going to do as the brandy gets opened, Tychus, you are led by Sadie to an outbuilding, and as they turn on the light as this warehouse, it is a toy room full of toys for engineers and various bits and pieces that have been scavenged and acquired. Some of them still have the label on. Some of them have definitely been around since before the Clone Wars. This is a collection of vintage cars, but it's all mechanical equipment and all research laboratories. She goes, this is what I've been collecting for a while. Will that do?
Happy life day to me. He says as he cracks all sets of knuckles. And there's this big kind of hungry smile on his face looking at this treasure trove.
And I think that's a good place to close the cinematic pause as we gear up into a high adventure.
Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Edge Studios. Our intro music is by the amazing Sly Fox Audio. Check out more of her work at soundcloud.com/SlyFoxAudio. Our outro music is Suburban Outlaw instrumental version by Forget the Whale, used with gratitude under a Creative Commons license. Many of the sound effects and soundscapes are created using Sirenscape, because epic games need epic sounds. If you're enjoying the show and want to support us, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/ForceMajeurePod, where for as little as $1 a month you get access to outtakes, adverts, various other stuff, and my fortnightly ramblings. You can drop us a coffee at ko-fi.com/ForceMajeurePod, or you can leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to interact with us, there's a few ways you can do that. We are on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter as @ForceMajeurePod, and we're over on Mastodon as @ForceMajeurePod at dice.camp. You can also join our Discord, link in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening and being with us as we tell these stories. We hope you are having fun, and we will see you next time.